as a woman and an artist, she was exemplary. She was an extraordinary human being. Um, we all know her story. She's one of those people that was not diminished by all the rough things that happened to her in life. She was, for me, she was kind of like very like a queen in the way she treated people. People sort of adored her. She was incredibly wise. In fact, one of those people from whom I learned so much. It's so sad to know that she's gone.
Why did you cast her in Mad Max?
Well, we were writing it. We needed somebody who was exactly, as I said, very regal, very powerful, sitting on top of some dominance hierarchy in a post-apocalyptic world. And we kept on saying as we were writing, oh, someone like Tina Turner, someone like Tina Turner. And we eventually came to casting and we said, well, why not ask Tina Turner? We did. And she just turned out she was very happy to do it. And I'm just felt very privileged to work with her. She's a great lady.
Because that was during her comeback phase, wasn't it? And she was being managed by the Australian Roger Davies.
Yes, Roger was very important in that process, and she, they had a wonderful relationship, and she was just rising back then, and it just kind of grew. But you know, late '90s, I was at her 50th birthday party. It was in London. And she was surrounded by just about any sort of pop star, rock star that you could imagine. It's some big do. And she really reminded me of a queen at court. She had the Mick Jaggers on one side and so many others around her. And I realized that they were all influenced by her in the same way. I was struck by her wise view of life and how best to handle things, particularly in the helter-skelter of the celebrity life. You know, looking at these images now, I can't believe that such a life force has gone. She was a fantastic person.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about her physicality. You were talking there about the influence that she had in terms of her demeanour and her manner with people like Mick Jagger, but they've also talked about the influence that she's had on them as performers. I mean, her physicality was really something that she was known for, this high energy that she would bring to all of her performances that she'd sustain for hours on stage. Did she bring that kind of energy on set?
Yeah, yes, I mean we were shooting the film in the heat of Cooperpedy in South Australia. It was so hot and dry, and she was there in the dust, driving this vehicle on the first day because people weren't sweating. They weren't drinking water, and she was the one who pointed out. She said, "Hey, listen, George. You know, I know what it's like to be on stage and lose a lot of water. You've got to force water on the crew." And after the first day, when we had several people feel sick from being dehydrated, it stopped. She was the one who actually understood all that. And then not long after, we were shooting a scene in the middle of the night in the winter in Sydney. And again, she was so hardy with all of that. There's certainly no diva in Tina Turner. She was just this very, very strong, very, very wise person. That energy that you saw on stage obviously wasn't necessarily what she had when she was very, when she was with people. She was Buddhist. She was a Buddhist. She really meditated a lot, and she was the sort of person who was a mentor to so many families and people, and they all speak about it. And she certainly ended up being that to me. I got to spend quite a bit of time with her, and I still remember things that she said when I'm dealing with the process of making films.
Any little nuggets you want to share with us?
Well, One of the things that really struck me was we had you saw a little clip there earlier when we did a video clip of We Don't Need Another Hero. We were shooting late at night in Pittsburgh, and there were a lot of kids in that. She'd finished. She'd taken off her costume and her makeup and her wig. As you know, she didn't have much hair because of the trauma she had with her husband Ike. It's well documented. And someone came and said, "Oh, the kids about to leave. They would like to say hi and get some autographs." And one of her people said, "Oh, it's too late." And she said, No, I'll do it." So she put her wig back on. She put her costume back on, and she went out there. And as I was walking out with her, she said, these kids will remember this day for the rest of their lives. I guess they're in their 30s or 40s now, and no doubt they do. And she spent 45 minutes talking to them, getting to know who they are, and so on. She somehow was that person trying to impart what she knew about life to others. I saw that all the time, and certainly did for us, those of us who worked with her. Even Mel Gibson at the time, I think she was guiding him. So yeah, that was the kind of thing that stuck in my mind.
That's remarkable. So when you say no diva about her, you absolutely mean it. I wanted to ask about the song "We Don't Need Another Hero." Was that always going to be part of the film?
No, it came. Roger and Tina suggested it at the end, and they did the song. It was it became a big hit around the world. One other thing, I don't know if we've got time, but in 1988
we have all the time for you, George
all
Miller.
Right, okay. In 1988 there was the bicentennial, and I don't know if you remember, but there were a lot of fireworks. And Tina was in Sydney, and there was she had a boat. She had all these people on the boat, and including my 2-year-old daughter, who and Tina played with her and so on. And it got time when my daughter had to go to sleep, and there was a cabin down below. We took it down, said, "You've got to try to sleep now." And she said, no, I want to play with that Tina Turner girl. And from then on, and so we took her back up and she played with Tina. And from then on, we called her the Tina Turner girl.
Oh, how lovely to have had those experiences. I spoke to John Quayle last hour. He's the former NRL boss who brought Tina Turner to Australia for those advertisements and the NRL Grand Final in 1993. He said the initial reaction to using her in the campaign was, why are you using a black woman who's an international artist and a grandmother? I mean, she had to overcome a lot, didn't she? But she had this universal appeal.
Yes, it's just, I think she's exceptional in that way. She's more than those things. She was by any measure just a fantastic human being. Whether she was female, whatever her ethnicity, she just was a very powerful figure. Again, I think it was intrinsic to her somehow, and used all the experience of life to pass it on to others. Without knowing it, she just was a mentor to so many people. I know, I was times I spent with her. She'd have people on the phone talking to them, advising them with their careers and how to negotiate all the traps of the celebrity, which sometimes can really really be disruptive to people's lives. She was very, very smart about that. And had no problem helping people, and that's why she was adored. I think that power was evident in her work. It wasn't she was one thing publicly and something else in private. That it was all evident, to everybody. And you see it on the stage, and you saw it in the intimate moments, and you see it in the way that people are responding to her. You know, when you hear all those iconic pop stars saying how much they loved her and how generous she was in spirit, it rings true, very true to me.
The next instalment of the Mad Max series is due out next year. Will there be any kind of special tribute to Tina Turner?
Until today, I didn't even think about it, but I'll certainly think about it.